Is Israel Adesanya's time at the very top of the UFC done? That's what a couple of the commentators sounded like they were saying at the end of his loss the other day, his KO loss, just saying, you know what, he had his time and that might be the end. I want to talk about, first of all, the possibilities of you being in your fight career and feeling like, oh, I can't go any further. Maybe that last loss is the end for me of going beyond. But I also want to touch on the negativity that you have to deal with in the fight world and in life, because that can be overwhelming. Let's keep in mind, you could have Israel Adesanya, for instance, could have 50 people singing his praises, saying like, okay, that was a rough loss, Izzy, but you'll be back. And you could have 5. You have 10% of people just screaming like, oh, he's done, he was a bum, he never belonged. And it's hard to knock down that negativity, that noise. And one of the main reasons, from something I've learned throughout the years, obviously having the channel, having a fight career, is the negative people are very vocal. They are there. They are projecting the negativity in their life out to everything else in the world, whereas the positive people are not always as vocal. They're not right in your ear being like, yeah, you're the best, you can do it, I believe in you. But the negative people, oh, they like to sound off. So when you have a lot of negativity coming at you, keep that in mind. That's not all that's there. Your life is not surrounded by negative people. It's just those people who are the most vocal. And when you do have positive words coming towards you or positivity in your life, it might not always be as abundant and as clear, but you really cling on to it because there is a lot of it. It's just not always as visible. So Adesanya, he had his loss and he spent so long, pretty much from his entry into the UFC, climbing the ranks, became champion, was dominant there for so many years. I believe it was years as champion. Good number of title defenses and was looking untouchable. And then a little setback against Pereira and then lost to Strickland after he regained the belt, I believe. But still, that has to hurt. Why does it hurt? Because you're up so high. But for people on the channel, you might not be way up there where you're like, okay, I've reached the pinnacle of everything. You might be climbing your way up and you face something. It might not necessarily be a loss. It could be an injury. It could be a setback because you have to go and put extra time into work. There are so many reasons that as you climb, you feel like, oh, I just got knocked down. And then trying to regain where you were before is so exhausting because the climb when things are going well, when things feel good, when you're taking those victories time and time again, it's enjoyable. But the setbacks and then having to redo it, oh, it can just be a drain. And I was pretty fortunate in my fight career that for me on the way up, it all went pretty smooth. Didn't have too many setbacks, just kind of climbed, and then got the title, but then same thing. Once I hit the top, it would kind of be like fall off the top, regain the top, fall off the top, regain the top. And it's a frustrating thing. So Adesanya, where does he go from here? Well, if he can block out all that negativity, he can get past the fact that, okay, I had a loss. He can come to terms with the KO loss and just go, oh, you know, I made an error. And most importantly, I believe, make adjustments. Right? It doesn't need to be, oh my gosh, we throw everything away that was negative or that was in my last training camp. We toss a couple things aside, like 2%, and we just tidy it up. Now, obviously, if you guys were on the channel the last week, you would have seen the video where I was talking about Adesanya. His style is very dangerous in terms of his defense. And while he's an exceptional fighter who can actually do these things which you shouldn't do, eventually it will catch up with you. So what do you do after that? Do you just go back to everything the same, or do you try and switch up your style? I say there's a happy medium. And this is the same for anybody who has a fight, right? You had a fight, you lost. You don't go, oh, I have to reform my whole style. You go, what are the small areas that I can make a difference? What little tweaks can I make? So I'm still myself, still the same fighter, but just an improved version. So for Adesanya, the fade back is great for him because he has the long arms. So a lot of times him putting out those frames and blocking stuff up the middle while he pulls his head back, it's going to serve him well. But he also leaves himself vulnerable to the side, and that's what happened. Just misread, got taken advantage of because the chin was down, so maybe he drills a lot now. When you put those hands out, the chin drops and the shoulders come up, and you just make that a habit. So there's no more, okay, I'm like this, where I'm just so open. Maybe he gets rid of a little bit of that defensive style and adopts a couple others, like, oh, I'm gonna go more focused on just head movement instead of putting those hands out there. I was watching a fight last week and I was going, holy smokes, this person never, ever blocks anything. I'm drawing a blank on who that was. It was some big main event in the UFC and just never, ever putting his hands up. I think it was Yuri Prohaska. Yeah, he legitimately never blocks. He either takes the shot or he moves his head. And I was going, oh, I would like to see him get a couple blocks in because his counters are just so on point. But maybe Adesanya goes with something like, okay, I'm going to try and do footwork and head movement and really never have to put my hands out. I don't know the exact answer. But the point is, after all is said and done, can Adesanya rebound? Can he reclaim the top? It's going to be difficult because fighters are constantly improving. The guys who are on a roll upwards, the momentum on them is hard to stop. But can he do it? Absolutely. Should he let the negativity surrounding him right now, like UFC commentators saying that, oh, his time at the top is done, should he let that in and take it to heart? No. The best you can do in those situations is listen very quickly to the negativity, go, okay, I'm going to adjust accordingly, because yes, they're right to a certain extent, and maybe a couple changes need to be made, but make a small adjustment and then come back and prove everybody wrong. And you have to do that so many times, and not just in fight sports, but I'm guessing in life. Prove other people wrong. They say you can't, and you show them, oh yes, I can. So Adesanya, he's got obviously a tough mind. You do not have something like, I don't even know if it was 70 or 100 kickboxing fights and then a stellar MMA career, become a UFC champion. You do not accomplish that without a solid, strong mind. So to say he can't rebound, I don't believe it. Will it happen? I don't know. But can definitely happen. And the lesson there is just basically any of you guys or ladies who are out there who are going, oh, you know, I experienced a setback and there's lots of negativity around it. And it may not be loads. It could just be one person. It could be like your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your wife, your husband, somebody who's seen you fail once and they're like, nah, I don't think that's the right way for you. There's safer ways, and you just have to kind of believe in yourself. Who knows, right? Where does the negativity come from? Any direction. Really, I get lots of people on the channel who message me on Instagram saying, oh, I want to have a fight career, but you know, my parents are not supportive and it's really hard on me because I want to try. And I can sympathize with that. I never had to experience it because I had so much support from my family, and I still do. But it would be rough. So you find the few people who are along for the ride with you, who will support you, you feed off them as opposed to those negative comments, which I know can eat away at you for a moment, but then you just got to push them aside. So Adesanya, I wish him the best. I don't know if I've ever fought on a glory card with him in the past, but what he's accomplished is amazing and probably hard to shut down that negativity, but he'll do it and he'll be back to fight. I'm so sure of that. So let's call it there, guys. Thanks for joining today.